Greetings and welcome to Wednesday morning. Time to chat about your iNfinity app. And even more so, I was just talking with someone else. We were chatting about what Wednesday mornings are about. They are certainly about your iNfinity app, but they're also about biofeedback. And I hope that as you are going through these Wednesday morning classes, that you are taking in the information in how it relates to biofeedback, which is basically what you are doing with your apps. For all intent purposes, you are offering a signal to the body, and the body is responding to that and telling you what is the stress potential for that particular situation. So, welcome this morning to Integrity Biofeedback Academy's presentation of the navigational and basic training and intermediate and advanced training all in one right now for the iNfinity app. Today's topic, as you see there, is sensitivities, and it's about the panel and what the difference is between sensitivities and allergies. And I am Brenda Judah, and I'm joined by Sharon Oyer. We are co-owners of Integrity Biofeedback, Inc. and Academy. So we're going to go ahead and get started this morning because I know you'd like to, and I can see that so many of you are on this morning. We thank you for that. I need you just to bear in mind that each week from now on you're going to see this information pop up here. And many of you last week commented on the fact that you'd like to have this disclaimer as it is, and I'm not sure we were going to put it up this week, and I must apologize, I don't have it up on your handouts. I will do that. I will actually make a note. I'm writing it right now. Handout disclaimer. Okay. And I will try to have that up next Wednesday morning on the area of your GoToMeeting that you can actually just download it. This is just telling you that the iNfinity app works like an evoked potential biofeedback device. The information provided here should not be construed as a claim or representation that this program is intended for use in the diagnosis, cure, mitigation, treatment, prevention of disease, or any other medical condition. An evoked potential biofeedback device records subtle reactive informational stress potentials provided by the client during the assessment procedure. The program evaluates such responses and then challenges the individual with that information by feeding it back to the client. This process merely assists the body's own natural defense mechanisms by encouraging energetic balance and harmony. Please remember, only duly qualified and licensed healthcare practitioners may make assumptions relative to specific disorders or medical conditions. Quantum Life and Integrity Biofeedback, Inc. and Academy shall not be responsible for any such misrepresentation. Okay, let's move on this morning. We always have, we've decided we're always going to put this up here as well. Karen Williams is the CEO of Quantum Life, and that is her email address. If you have any questions regarding Quantum Life, we ask that you direct them to Karen, and that is her email there. And you can, again, if there are questions regarding Quantum Life, please send those questions to Karen. And moving on, this is our information, IBA. And that is our website up there, www.biofeedbackedu.com. Please check us out on the web. And actually, I must tell you that I've just recently put up two different little vignettes on the how-to for your iNfinity on that website. And one of them is how to actually back up your device and link it to your Dropbox. Actually, that information did come in from Ryan, and he had sent that to me stating that this is how you need to make sure that they're backing that up. So originally, I was doing it a little bit differently, but he has corrected that. He sent that in a couple of weeks ago. So please, if you have looked at it before and you're still having some problems, there's a new video up there under the how-tos for your iNfinity, and it shows you how to link your Dropbox to your iNfinity. That is very important. Why? For those of you who are new users and have not done that with your Dropbox, I must strongly recommend that you get onto that right away. If you have an iPad, you go to your app store. You will download Dropbox for iPad. It is a free app. If you're running an Android product, go to your Google store and please download Dropbox immediately. Get it on your product, get signed up, and then go to the how-tos under that website, biofeedbackedu.com, and make sure that you have linked your Dropbox to your iNfinity app because it protects all of your information in there, and especially the most important, if you lose your clients, it's not holding any information about them as far as the assessments or the values. It is holding their name and date of birth and things like that, but more importantly are those customized panels that you've been working on, or some of you have purchased those customized panels. So it will back up your data. So please make sure that you do watch that video. And also those of you who are sending customized panels out to people, or you're trying to receive a customized panel from someone, there is also the how-to on how to receive a customized panel. So check out those videos. Also, we have an associates program as well, and I know many of you are involved in Quantum Life's associate program. We also have an associate program. You can check that out at biofeedbackedu.com. And we have several products that we do sell that, you know, if you are interested in that, we would encourage you to talk to us about it, because through the years, many of you have referred people to us, and we've always referral fee. We never called it an associates program, but we thought that's a good idea. So since everybody else was putting one up, we thought, we've been doing it for 10 years, we decided to make it an actual associates program. So go there and check that out. And we give you there a download in a PDF file of what the remuneration is when you do a referral. You can always talk to us at integritybiofeedback@gmail.com, or you can even call us on a phone. Whoa. Let's talk about, Sharon, do you have questions coming in yet?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Well, before we read those questions, I didn't hear you, by the way.
You
do
didn't?
a test. Now I do, yes.
Okay.
Okay. I do want to just let you know, all of you that are on the call, new and old and in between, make sure that if you have questions, you start writing them in right now. We usually end up that people kind of hang back to see what the conversation is about, and then all of a sudden at the end we get poured in with a lot of information or questions. Please start talking now. Generate the conversation right now. Ask the questions right now. And that actually is the guiding force in these Wednesday mornings. So this is not a class in the sense of we are actually have a set forth program. We are answering questions that come in, and we're also addressing issues like the sensitivities as we're moving into the fall season and then on into the winter season. So we want to talk about sensitivities and allergies and maybe how you can boost that immune system. So start getting those questions in. I do want to acknowledge that last week we had some fantastic uplifting comments. Thank you so much for that. That is very important to us, and I don't want to let those just slide by as though they we don't acknowledge them. We love them. We love it that you love us, and we're loving you right back. So thank you. When you do send in those comments, it's not that we you know, gloss over them in any way. We do appreciate those comments that you send us so very much. So I'm going to go ahead, or Sharon, is that something that we need to address right now?
It's a really good question. That's going to take a little time for you, but it's one of the most important questions I think anybody can ask in today's world. It's from Shauna, and she's going to get a lot of bonus points today, I can tell.
Oh, wow.
So do you want that one first?
Well, sure.
It kind of goes along with what you're going to be talking about anyway.
Okay.
Here's the key question.
Okay.
How would you use the iNfinity to boost the immune system?
Well, Shauna's going to get 50,000 points.
That is a great question, and one that is so much needed in today's world when we're bombarded with so much crap. I know crap's not a medical term, but that's okay because we don't use medical terms here.
Sharon. We don't? Crap. Well, that sounds very medical to me. My mother, in my family, we had words that was like the creeping crud. And I thought that was an actual disease when I was growing up because your mother would look at you and she'd put her hand against your forehead and she'd go, Lee, Brenda has creeping crud. So I thought it was truly something. Okay, thanks for that question. We are going to talk about that question, actually, Shauna, on the call today in reference to your sensitivities. As I started to say, as we're moving into the cold season and the flu season, one of the things that has to do with sensitivities is the fact of what are they really and how can we help the body to balance those out. So I will ask that answer that question as we move through here. And if I don't, please send in a statement to Sharon and say, that's not what I wanted to know, if that is in fact true. Okay, let's just talk about the sensitivities for a minute. And on your panel here, as you see, when you run the scan, you will see that we have, again, in this particular panel, as well as in the emotional, which we go over extensively. And by the way, I want you all to know that these things are all covered very much so in your proficiency training as well. But the sensitivities are on a value scale of 0 to 100, okay? And negative and positive numbers. The balance area is going to be 40 to 60. So in other words, when we see barley at 55, there is not a real strong stress response to barley, okay? Animal hair, yes. Animal fat, yes. Cheese, yes. Cat, 94. So I think you can get a picture of what I'm saying here. I'm looking for things well above 60 and well below 40. In this panel, we have plus values and minus values. I want you to see here that these plus values are all in relationship to a chronic response. Okay, I'm just going to move this over a little bit. These pluses are telling us, and you can see this behind the recheck here, you can see that that term is chronic, that this person's response to animal fat is pretty extreme, and it is a chronic response. So in other words, chronic, remember, is something that's ongoing, long-term, kind of at the basis, you know, niggling all the time there. And values that are of the negative, which we see dairy here at minus 74, where is it? It's in the acute response side, okay? And so what that is telling us is that acute means shallow, quick onset, something that's happening right now, okay? And I will also tell you that things are of an acute, when they're of an acute situation, they usually shift easier. In other words, because they are shallow and of a you know, quick onset, a lot of times we can help to support the body in shifting those very, very quickly. So let's talk for a minute about the difference between allergies and sensitivities, because I hear so many of you saying, I was in the allergy panel. This is not an allergy panel. This is a sensitivity panel, a sensitivity panel. I urge you to get used to calling it a sensitivity panel because it is a sensitivity panel. Let's talk about the differences here. Allergies and sensitivities are caused by inappropriate reactions to harmless substances. The word allergy actually comes from the Greek meaning other, okay, meaning other. And it was first used in 1906 to actually refer to an altered reaction in the body's immune system, okay? So that is where the word allergy comes from. A true allergy is a reaction triggered by the immune system. However, there are a vast number of symptoms or conditions caused by sensitivities that may or may not involve the immune system. With reactions involving food, a large percentage of the population, let's go to our next screen here, This is the screen I'm wanting to move to here. A large percentage of the population believe that they have allergies, yet fewer than 2% actually have true allergies. And this is paramount. I hope everybody is listening, no matter what your background is, because, and I'm sure medical people do understand this, but I know I didn't, so I'm assuming, and maybe you know what you do when you assume, maybe I shouldn't do that, but people do tend to use the word allergy when they mean sensitivities. True food allergies are based on an exposure to a specific protein component of a food, okay? And what happens then is the immune system actually incorrectly perceives that protein as a threat, and it produces an antibody to that particular protein. And then with repeated exposure to that protein in a particular food, the cells begin to release histamine and other biochemicals in response to the allergenic food. So what happens is so many people come into my office and they will say to me, when we run the sensitivities, and I may say to them, you have a sensitivity to blueberries. And they'll say, you know what? I've eaten blueberries my whole life. I've never had any problem with them. And then all of a sudden, bang, I was terribly allergic to blueberries. Why? Because what's happening is when the body first starts out in this exposure to something, it begins to release that histamine and the biochemicals, and when you repeatedly are eating that food, suddenly now you have antibodies that are against that and generating this huge response in the body. So that's why sometimes people can eat something, you know, for years, and then all of a sudden they have a terrible situation taking place. But also, another reason, ladies and gentlemen, you know, remember this slide from last week, I love this slide. Up here is the sensitivity, okay? So let's say it's the blueberries. Let's look down here. Let's look for the stressors that are causing that symptomology. And for those of you who have taken Stress for Success, which is Sharon's course, one of the first ones that you take when you're in the certification program, she will teach you very deeply and explicitly about the body's stress responses. When you are in the fight and flight, which you hear us every week preach to you, the fight and flight mode is your sympathetic nervous system. When you're in that particular state of being, what happens is the energy flow to the immune system, the energy flow to the digestive system is greatly diminished. So when you begin to stay in that mode for longer periods and longer periods, the digestion is not working properly. Things are not digested properly. You begin to get leaky gut. This issue of sensitivities and allergies is so much bigger. It's this, okay? And we just kind of glance over it in the world in general, and especially sometimes even in the world of medicine. They give you shots, they do tests, they do all sorts of things where, quite frankly, if you would begin to spend more time in the parasympathetic nervous system, return the energy flow to the immune system, to the digestion system, begin to heal up those leaky guts, what would happen? You would have so many less sensitivities. And we know that really you have fewer true allergies than what you may even believe. So when you are in the sympathetic nervous system and the bowel and the digestion is being compromised, what happens is we get what we call like leaky gut syndrome. And so what happens is the small intestine, which is permeable, this is not basic, and this is, maybe you're saying it's not even about the infinity, but it is, because you're working with people and their sensitivities. So what happens is those proteins begin to be released into the bloodstream because the permeability of the small intestine is being increased, and it's kind of lax in what it's letting through now. And so the body begins to see those undigested protein components, and it goes, burp, 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 and it sends out all of these biochemicals, as we read there, and the release of histamine, which is an amino acid, or histamine. And so then the body says, okay, now I got this allergy. Oh boy, now I got this, now I got that. And truly, what's happening, and you all know this because you're either in this situation yourself, or you have a vast majority of clients who come in and say, I have so many allergies, I can't eat anything, nothing. And now I'm allergic to this, and now I'm allergic to that, and now I have an allergy to this, and now I have an allergy to this. I hear this every single day. You know what happens? As we slowly begin to shift them to the parasympathetic so that it becomes more their natural state of being, the gut begins to heal, even naturally. Okay, because I'm not a nutritionist, I cannot recommend anything to them. I cannot say or suggest that probiotics would be a great situation. However, I can have in my waiting room information about those things written by Dr. Mercola, or written by other Dr. Weil, or anybody that is a licensed person that can say, hey, this is how we return the flora of the bowel to a better state. That certainly would help that along very quickly, but just shifting them to the parasympathetic allows you to get into that position where the body is going, oh yeah, I can take care of this. I can reverse this. I had a young man that could not eat anything. I mean, everything generated a response in his body, whether it was diarrhea or vomiting or sinus issues or weeping eyes or bowel issues. I mean, he was like 13 years old. So with ongoing stress management, when I scanned him, and also the mother took it upon herself to pull those things out of his digestive, or out of his diet for a time being, and let us work on the shifting him to the parasympathetic. When he came back in a couple of months and we did a rescan, I mean, that scan was so vastly different that it blew everybody's mind, because that's how powerful your body is, and that's how quickly your body wants to heal itself. So the number one thing that you want to do is you want to shift them to the parasympathetic, and then after a number of weeks, then go back and look at their allergies or sensitivities. What I want to say now about food sensitivities, they are much more common. And sensitivities are abnormal reactions to food or food components that do not necessarily involve the immune system, but could involve the body as a whole. And I believe, again, with that young man, what had happened was he came out of a very stressful household with divorce, several children in that household, a lot of stress going on, and he had lived under that for many years. And what happens when you're in the sympathetic state? I want you all to think of this, because we're getting ready to head into fall. What happens to the leaves on your trees? They turn this brilliant, vibrant color, and then they fall off, right? And so the reason for that is because the sap, which is the life-giving blood of the tree that flows through every limb and leaf and everything within the tree, in the wintertime, when it goes into its, it has to shut down, as it were, to protect itself, which is like our sympathetic, or parasympathetic, or I'm sorry, that's like our sympathetic nervous system. It's our protection mode. What happens is the sap in the tree drains to where? The trunk. Okay? And everything that is not necessary is just kind of out there to fend for itself. Same thing happens in your body. When you are in the sympathetic mode, I want you to think about the fact that all of your life force goes to the very trunk of your body, to protecting the body, to protecting you. And so that's why the energy to things like digestion and immunity are greatly reduced during that time period. So when you see all of these sensitivities, people say to me all the time, oh my gosh, where do I start? I'm going to tell you again and again and again and again, you must start in shifting to the parasympathetic. Now, when you have shifted to the parasympathetic, wonderful. Now you can go in and you can start working on and creating some things to help with the immune system. Okay, let's just pop that right up there. We can see that we've created a panel here for the immune system, literally. And we can see that we have antioxidants, the B cells, interferon, the Kupffer cells, leukocytes, liver, lymph nodes in the groin, lymph nodes in the upper torso, blah, 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 blah. We recommend that you do things like this. Create this. Support the body's immune rebuilding, okay? But always building upon the parasympathetic state, because you cannot heal and maintain any forward motion in healing if you do not get that body or that client or your body to remain in the neutral to parasympathetic state for ongoing periods of time. This will be support, but it will be like putting a Band-Aid on. And you also hear me saying this so many times. I say to you, this is not, people want to make this a medical device. Well, let me say this to you. If medicine was so important to you, what are you doing in this field? And if medicine could heal us, then tell me why we make more medicine than we've ever made in our lives. In recorded history, the United States takes over 80% of all of the medications made anywhere. So if medicine could heal you, it would have done so. And I'm not saying doctors, I'm saying medicine. Pharmaceuticals, they have their place, but if they could heal you, they would have done that by now. You're in this field because you want to learn how the body works. This is how the body works. Okay, so make your own immune system information and get that going. In your Stress for Success, those of you who take the class, you learn about everything that you will see on this screen. This is where you're going to help shift that body into the parasympathetic state. And you're going to do this repeatedly, every single time you work with yourself or your clients. Get them in there. Build that immune system. Help the body release that stress. And then you're also going to go into your nutriopathy panels, because we know that it's so imperative that the body have the right balance of nutrients. But also, let me warn you that if the body is in the sympathetic nervous state of being, that your digestion, as you've heard me say this morning, is compromised. When you take a supplement and you're in the sympathetic nervous system, the amount of efficacy of that supplement is greatly compromised, greatly compromised. We know the statistics are that anything you take, you receive about 35 to 40% of that actual component within that pill or within that nutrient that you're wanting. So in other words, if you have a vitamin C with, and this is, this is just a for instance, 100 units or 100 whatever grams, which would not be what you take, by the way, but let's say that you're only getting 35% of that. So you're beginning about 35. So when you are in the sympathetic nervous state, your body is not producing the proper amounts of hydrochloric acid, and that's another whole story and why you're all on pills to help with acid reflux. So your body's already not generating the proper amount of hydrochloric acid to digest the nutrients or the food. When you just keep seeing that you have the same imbalances over and over and over and over, it's because the body is where? In the sympathetic, and it can't digest it. So that's my warning to you. You can't hold on to minerals and vitamins and generate enzymes if you're not in the parasympathetic nervous state. We know that lysine, look here, is for helping to clean you up and get rid of stuff in the body. So that's very important. So you might be looking at something like that when you're doing your looking to help your immune system. Looking at some of these other items throughout this panel is very important. Phosphorus, we know, helps with upper respiratory type situations and things like that. If you don't know what these things do, check them out. Sulfur, it helps rid the body of bacteria. So this would help what? The immune system. So if you see that this is consistently out of balance, you might want to look at that too. Zinc is very important for your immune system. So you would want to go in and be taking a look at that. Your Bs are paramount because they help with all kinds of things, and they help with stress, which in turn will help with the immune system. So you'll look through those. Vitamin C, everybody gets vitamin C. They know that vitamin C is important. Be taking a look at that. Look at your vitamin D. It's very important as we're heading into the winter months and as we're wanting to help support the body. So all of these things, these are panels where I would definitely be going and working with people to help with their immune responses. But I cannot say hard enough, long enough, or strong enough. Please make sure that you're checking out the parasympathetic nervous system first and foremost, and then build upon that. Everybody understands that when you have a blueprint, that they have a whole page in those blueprints that is just about what? The foundation. The foundation. If you are having a home built and you see that they're laying out the foundation, and it takes them, let's say, a week to do that, and you're anxious to get that house built, and then the next thing they come in and they start building forms and doing all kinds of things, and you're like, oh, come on, I just want to see some walls. What happens if they don't build the foundation properly and they put your walls up? Not so good, not so good. The whole thing goes down. This is what I'm suggesting to you. Your autonomic nervous system is your foundation, and you need to make sure that that is stabilized and then build above that. Okay, that's the end of my dissertation on that, Sharon.
Okay, we have a good question from Dolores. Would the efficacy be as adversely affected if you are using supplements that are sublingual?
That is a beautiful question, Dolores. Another, many thousands of points. Sublingual are things that you put under your tongue and immediately are a part of they get into the bloodstream very, very, very quickly. So they bypass your digestion, as it were. The efficacy of them, I do not know what their percentage is. Of course, you would have a better chance of getting them into the body. So anytime you can take something that is easier to digest, where sublingual you're not digesting, but anytime you can even take liquid minerals and vitamins, you have a better chance of getting them into the body. However, again, it's like a crutch, because if you're not getting to the foundation of the body, it won't last either. But yes, I would say that sublingual, as long as it's a good product and your body can use it, the sublinguals are very good and would have a better efficacy because they're bypassing that whole digestive system. Now, I know there are some things that need to go through that process because they need to go through that. But again, I'm not a nutritionist or a doctor, so I can't tell you what they are. But yes, sublingual things like sublingual Bs and things like that, and you can take liquid Cs and powders and stuff like that. Definitely, they would have a better chance of getting some action or reaction from the body or supporting the body.
Okay, and here's a follow-up question from Dolores. She wants additional bonus points, I'm sure. Do you have suggestions for supporting the adrenals in addition to being in the parasympathetic mode? Good question.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that is a good question. Adrenal support is so much too involved with your nutrients, okay? And, your Bs are really important there. You also want to be going in, your HPA access is paramount. The reason that the adrenals are the way they are in most of us is because it is kind of this ongoing vicious cycle. Again, starting with the fact that we are in the sympathetic. However, when you add to that the HPA axis, which is hypothalamus, pituitary, adrenals, if you will work with that, which is within, for those of you who have taken your Stress for Success, you have those in your panel or your panels. The HPA, again, is so important for the overall health of the body. Your hypothalamus is considered your master gland. Some discussion about that today in the medical field, but for all intent purposes, the hypothalamus is kind of where the instruction begins. It sends its signals, and the hypothalamus, by the way, is a set point for so many foundational expressions of the body, and it sends a signal to the pituitary. And guess what? The pituitary has an impact on your kidneys. It has an impact on your adrenal system. It has an impact on your thyroid, and it has an impact on many other areas of the body. But for the question about adrenals, what happens is when that pituitary is out of balance, it is not sending the proper information, and it is generating some issues that will impact the adrenals. And then by the time it gets to the adrenal, the message to the adrenal system is completely skewed. The adrenals are not receiving the proper signal if you're not checking the HPA axis. And then secondly, the emotions are so impactful for the adrenal system. Again, because if you are living in that stressed out place and you're having, ongoing anger and ongoing fear and ongoing trauma in your body, what's happening is the pituitary is becoming worn out. The adrenals are becoming fatigued. So again, if I would be checking the B's, I would be checking all of the nutrients. Right off the top of my head, that's the only one I can think of. I'm sorry, but if somebody else wants to weigh in on, what of the nutrients that we can be, checking in the nutriopathy panel, that would be great. Like I say, the B's are the first thing that come to me. They are certainly not the only one. But again, helping the body to shift to the parasympathetic and then maintaining a look in on the hypothalamus, pituitary, and adrenal system with support there energetically will give you a great boost in the adrenals. And then looking at, again, of course, the nutriopathy panel would be good. And you can build panels for the adrenal system as well to just give general support. And of course, there are many, many areas within this panel that you can be looking at. Again, you can be looking in the spinal energy. I shouldn't say again because I haven't said it this morning, but you can be looking in the spinal area, because the spinal area will also, if you have an imbalance in that spinal area in 9-2, which is thoracic 9, let's just open up the spinal energy. Oops, I keep going past that and hitting the wrong button. There we go. T9, which is thoracic 9, has an impact on your adrenal system. And guess what? Your adrenals, of course, also have an impact on allergies and hives, sensitivities, all kinds of things. So we can see here that with this person, we have the T9 right here at 620. So it's getting up there. Right now, it's right on that cusp, but at 620, it's still pretty safe in there. But again, it wouldn't be inappropriate to support the adrenals by balancing T9. And because the thoracic 9, that vertebrae, if there is stress on that vertebrae causing stress on the nervous system, what happens is the adrenals don't get the proper signal. So things like that are all very, very important.
Okay, here's a couple of good questions. Dolores has a follow-up, but let me get to this other one first. This is a great question from Patricia. How do we know when we are in the parasympathetic nervous system? That's a great question, because most people are so much in the sympathetic that becomes their norm. So when they're in the parasympathetic, they don't even recognize it until they slip into it accidentally. It's like, oh, this is kind of what it feels like. I'm really getting a strong echo here, so I hope I'm coming across okay.
Yeah.
Do you? Can I address this question? Because we do talk about this in the Stress for Success course. We go very much in depth into the answer of this. Let me just give you a few cues or keys that will help you know when you're in the parasympathetic. Some of the things you will experience is, of course, you will know this already, I'm sure, normal blood pressure, relaxed muscles. Your digestion will be working optimally because, again, as Brenda alluded to earlier, when you're in the parasympathetic, your digestion and immune system are working optimally. So if you're injured, I would think you would see your immune system rushing to those places and taking care of what's happening physiologically in your body. Also, you'll have a clear mind. Many people don't realize that when you're in the sympathetic nervous system, your limbic system is kicked on, that fear mode, that emotional side of your brain. And again, it's a good thing. It's a normal thing. You just don't want to live there. Because when that happens, your frontal lobe of your brain is put on hold. That's your clear thinking, your logical thinking, and so you can tell when people are under stress, they make really stupid, illogical decisions. And they say stupid, illogical things, for lack of a better term. I'm just saying it very bluntly. I feel blunt today. Can you tell that? Crap and stupid. Yes. Well, there you go. So, you know, again, you have clear-mindedness. You're thinking rationally when you're in the parasympathetic nervous system mode. Also, you'll have good sleep when you're in that as well. You'll be sleeping well, deep, getting into that delta wave. So again, your immune system can do what it needs to do during that issue as well. There's lots of hormones that are cascading down from the hypothalamus and pituitary adrenals. Again, all healthy things that are happening unless you're staying there. And in the course, we go into each one of those hormones. It has to do with memory as well. It's a big player in that when you can't remember things, everyday things. Where your car keys are, where your car is, the names of the people that you live with. That's telling you you're in the sympathetic. So if you're having good memory recall now and in the past, that shows you're probably pretty much in the parasympathetic as well. So those are just some a few key things, and hopefully the more that you're in there, the more you will know when you're not, rather than the other way around. Also, I hope that helps. And take the course. Oh, bowel, well, digestion, but yeah, bowel working optimally. No diarrhea or constipation. Constipation is actually a form of diarrhea, which is another whole thing. But
yes, that's one of the things
regular
yes,
bowel movements, healthy.
Yes, healthy poop. That's very important. Yes, we're all about poop around here, and it's very healthy when you poop right. And people, you know, when I am talking about bowel, they're like, you know, it's like, okay, either you poop or you don't poop. And those of you that don't poop, we know you from a mile away because we can tell sometimes by the way you walk and also by the way that you express your emotions. So, yes, that's very much a part of it. And thank you, Sharon, for answering that. And that is a good question. Yes, excellent. You have other questions?
And also, have you talked about the emotions in this? I'm sorry because I was kind of multitasking over here with some things to people that are on the call.
You weren't hanging on every word I was saying?
Well, I was trying to, but
sure.
I'm not very good at multitasking in some instances, which is probably because I'm a little under stress. See, if you're not under stress, sign of being in the parasympathetic, you can do 2 or 3 things at the same time. But I'm a little stressed today. So I know you're looking in a book over there, and I am too, for the emotional component of allergies. Also, I was looking up adrenals. It's very interesting. I'm looking at Louise Hay's book, Heal Your Body, for allergies. And I know Brenda's just talked about the difference between allergies and sensitivities, but certainly this would apply to sensitivities as well, I would think. And Louise Hay, she's saying, who are you allergic to? Denying your own power. Boy, that's a thought-provoker one, too. So if you're having a lot of allergy or allergic reactions, whether it's food, environment, and so forth, the emotional component, if you don't deal with that, they're going to jump around and you're going to have lots of problems with allergies. So you must deal with this. Who are you allergic to? Denying your own power. Her affirmation is, the world is safe and friendly. I am safe. I am at peace with life. So as you're working on your infinity with yourself, if you're experiencing a lot of that, this would be great information to put into the second screen when you're putting in that affirmation. The energetic text. The world is safe and friendly. I am safe. I am at peace with life. I would really recommend this little book. I think you can get it on our website on our bookstore page by Louise Hay. With adrenals, her research has found that the emotional component of that is defeatism, no longer caring for the self, anxiety. Defeatism, no longer caring for the self, anxiety. I love and approve of myself. It is safe for me to care for myself. I love and approve of myself. It's safe for me to approve of myself. Excellent.
Thank you for that, Sharon, because that's exactly where I was headed while you were talking. And your question, Dolores, I think it was Dolores, about the adrenals, you know, aside from the parasympathetic, and everybody always does have that question for me, so what else can I do besides that? Well, you can do a lot of things to support it, but if you don't do that, it doesn't matter what you're doing. So again, we have so many people that start working with the Infinity, and they have some really very quick energetic changes, and then they begin to fade, and then they start scrambling, and then they call us, and then they're talking to us, and then we suggest to them to do parasympathetic. And I've said this to you 1,000 times, it sometimes takes longer to do it the right way, but you will end up with a long-term manifestation of a healthier experience. Your body is so happy when you first start working with your Infinity that it does all kinds of things for you. It's saying to you, because the body's voice is your manifestations, and so the body is saying, yes, 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 I like it, I like it, I like it, I want more of it, I love it, I like it, I want some more of it. And so it goes on and on and on, and you go, yeah, this works. And so you give the body just, you know, what you see there, and then the body is thinking that you're going to go deeper, and when you don't, it goes back into what? Its old patterns. So again, the body just finally says, you know what? Okay, that's great, but we're not getting to the cause. So again, I know, because I hear it from everybody. They say, so how long when I do that parasympathetic stuff? Well, probably forever. And when you are working with clients, you know, you've heard us say that we have a main just day of discovery with our clients. They come in for 2 hours, and we explain things to them, not as in depth as we do to you, but we explain it to them in layman's terms so that they can at least understand at a very easy to accept level what we're going to be doing with them and how biofeedback can impact them. We also set them up to understand that they're going to come back for 5 sessions with us. They're going to come back 1 hour a week for 5 sessions, because if you do not get into the parasympathetic nervous system, we're not having any long-term lasting changes. So what happens? Then people go out after their first time or second time, maybe they felt great, their mood was lifted, somebody validated them, they went home that night, they slept great, and then they don't come back for a month. Guess what? They don't come back. And many of you have called me and said, how do you get people to come back? You explain to them how the body works. And, you know, you don't make any apologies for that. You tell them that our job is to help you shift to the parasympathetic. Once we help your body accomplish that, what we see then on that 5th time is we run this full scan, and we look to see the different things that are changing. We see major changes often in the sensitivity panel. We see it in the emotional panel. We will often see changes in the nucleopathy panel, the meridians, the body system, and we see some really amazing shifts. At that point is when your work begins. Because now, after you have helped the body create the new neural pathways to being more normally in the parasympathetic state, and you're helping people to sleep better by that, then when you do the scan and you look around, you can see things that are more of a foundational issue. Because what's happening is when the body is so out of balance and it's in the sympathetic nervous system, it's just responding to all kinds of things. And that's why we're all over the chart and we're going, oh, I don't know where to start. I don't know what to do. I don't know what, because everything is a mess. If you will get them into the parasympathetic for several weeks, and begin to see that they are sleeping better and their body is regenerating, the body is working more normally, then when you begin to look at nucleopathy and you see imbalances, those are things then you begin helping them to really support the body and help the body in doing further shifts. But in doing that, what you're setting yourself up for is success as a practitioner. But even above that, you're setting up the client for empowerment, self-empowerment, and you're setting up that client to understand biofeedback and what it really is, which is stress management, people. And so when you set them up for success, that's exactly what you get. And when you take them in that first session and you spend 3 or 4 hours with them and they're exhausted and they're just giddy, and they go home and they sleep for 2 days, and then everything on the 3rd and 4th day begins to come back. They don't come back to you, or if they do and you do the same thing again, you'll have the same response. If you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you always got. So if you will learn to do it a different way, to go a different way, you will have a different outcome. And I do promise you, this is the way of the body. It's not the way of Brenda Judah or Sharon Oyer. It's the way of the body, because I would like to jump straight to the symptom. How do you think that we got to the place where we are today preaching these things? Because we both jumped to the symptoms. We both jumped to those things to try to, quote unquote, fix something. You know what? It didn't work. So what what we're offering to you is a combined 25 years of experience to talk about how the body really works and how what you're doing with your biofeedback device can make a massive difference for you and your clients. Okay.
Yes, we both experienced the wrong way and the right way, but maybe it's not the wrong way, it's just the different way that we learned we don't want to go that way anymore. And as Blanche said, yes, just go a different way.
That's right. I knew that. That's where I learned
that. Dolores has a follow-up question real quickly, because then I have to go to a commercial at the end here. And my commercials, I was just thinking, you'll want to stay tuned for my commercials, because my commercials don't give you side effects like you see on TV. You will not get diarrhea, your head won't fall off, or other organs of your body parts by listening to my commercial, unlike things you see on television. But anyway, Dolores wants to know, and maybe you've hit this, I'm not sure. What if high emotions are a symptom, not the root cause? Would that be hormones? Do hormones play into this at all? Have you talked about that?
I haven't talked about that today. I will tell you, I'm glad you actually said that. I'm going to get this set up for you, Sharon. I'm going to turn it over to you. So while I'm chatting with Dolores. When we talk about the emotions are not the symptom. So thanks, Dolores, for bringing this up. Lots of us want to kill the messenger, okay? Guess what the messenger is? It's your emotions. So in a roundabout way, you hit the nail on the head. Could it be the hormones? Well, sure, it could be the hormones, but where do the hormones cascade from? The HPA axis. Your hypothalamus, your pituitary, your adrenal, they're the starting points there. And so when you're experiencing life and everything is functioning properly, the pituitary is sending the TSH to the thyroid's happy, it's sending out all of its signals, the adrenals are happy, the liver's happy, the kidney, which are the laboratory of the body, are functioning well. So the hormones are moving through that bloodstream and they're dancing along saying, I'm happy. I'm so happy. Just get happy. And so actually those high level of imbalances in your emotions are nothing more than the messengers that there is something beneath that, a stressor. Now, I know we always preach emotions, 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 but they are connected to your stressors, your stress patterns, and they're generating emotions. And when you begin to feel those emotions, it's telling you, uh-oh, something's going on. So, we can just continue to balance the emotions, or we can really get to what is generating that signal as well. And that is those underlying stress patterns and helping to, again, not completely decimate the emotional system. That's not what we want to do. It's your GPS. It's saying to you, just this morning I had a conversation with I'll just say it, my brother, since he's not on the call ever. And I wanted to reach through the phone, grab him around the neck, and just shake him. And there's some admittance about where my stress came from this morning. And anyhow, I just sat down when I finished my conversation. I went out and I sat down in the living room, and I thought, why am I feeling this anger? So I was able to take a few minutes. Number one, I breathed. Okay, I started breathing, which is very important because especially when we're arguing about something, which we weren't necessarily, but we were having a discussion, a heated one, you forget to breathe. So I started breathing, and then I started thinking about, where's this anger coming from? So I was able to deconstruct, to go back to some other stress points that were there. And so again, the anger just told me that there was something that was not really in alignment within me. Not saying that he was right, but I'm just saying that my response was too responsive. And so I needed to deconstruct that emotion. And what happened to me was when I had that emotion and that high response there, Dolores, what happens is everything gets blocked, okay? And the cascade of different biochemicals releasing different hormones into the body generated another whole physical manifestation. So your body is, here's the word of the day, where's the drum roll? Holistic. That's what you guys are in. You're in the holistic fields now. You're not in reduction medicine. You're not looking at an ovary or a tonsil. You're looking at a whole person. So thanks for the question. Sharon, take it away, sister.
Okay, just give me a few extra minutes here. The Quantum Life Conference is coming up quick. It's going to be here before you know it. It's only about 6-7 weeks away. So Karen is gearing up with this conference, November 4th through 6th. Last week we went through a little bit of who's coming. She has lined up some really phenomenal people. Nina Silver will be there. She has a PhD and has written the Rife Handbook Frequency book. She's going to be speaking about the foundations of health and the physics of frequency. She's also going to be doing a session called Healers Do It with Frequency, the Rife Therapy, the New Paradigm. Dr. Frank Charles will be there, the metaphysical physician, and you can see all of his accolades listed on the screen real quickly there. Has lots of experience in alternative and integrative and medical as well. He's going to be speaking about improving physiology with quantum life using the app and some other modalities as well. Jimmy Holman will be there. Some of you are familiar with him if you've listened to some of the seminars that Karen has done through Quantum Life. He will be speaking on From Quackery to Science, the evolution and science of bioenergetic and bioelectric technologies. That sounds like a fascinating topic as well. Also, Gail Mack will be there. She'll be doing 2 sessions. She'll be teaching the activating higher consciousness with your quantum infinity, and also she's doing a session on incorporating Young Living essential oils into your practice. Reverend Mary Hardy will be there as well. I'm not sure still what she's speaking on, but she knows. She's just got to get it to Karen so that we know. Brenda and I will be there as well. We're going to be doing 2 sessions on Friday. One is called Dumbing Down the Innate Wisdom of the Body. I think you're going to like that session, and also the Basics and Beyond. We'll be doing that session as well. We also have another speaker that has been lined up by Karen, Casey Conrad. I'm sorry I don't have her pick and accolades up there, but she's going to be doing a session called Keys to a Successful Wellness Practice. Keys to a Successful Wellness Practice by Casey Conrad. She's been, I think, 25 or 30 years in the wellness industry as well. So we're looking forward to seeing her there. The Embassy Suites is the hotel, and if you go on the Quantum Life Education website, they have a tab that says Convention. I think that's what it says. And you can click on there. There's a link to the Embassy Suites. There's a link to, of course, sign up for the conference through Quantum Life. There's also a phone number. When you call the Embassy Suites, it's up now to get the special Quantum Life special rate for the conference. Be sure you ask for that. Karen has secured some special rates for those attending the conference. Again, that is on the quantumlifeeducation.com. Also, has just been added today is for you to be able to order your some meals through Quantum Life. It might save you some money, and to be able to eat without running all over the place trying to find food. If you're not bringing your own. So anyway, that's information is all up there as well. So if you've been visiting that website, go back in today and see what's available through the conference. Again, register at quantumlifeeducation.com, conference tab. Early bird ends September 30th, so those prices will be changing. Now's the time if you're planning on coming to register and pay and get your hotel reservations and so forth, because now you'll save some bucks, and we all want to do that for sure. Also, I just want to mention that we did last week the proficiency training for the Infinity is done. 5 hours of video recordings with a 62 full-page colored manual. So if you would like more information about that, please, you can email us or call us. We'll be happy to send you that information. There's the table of contents. It's everything from start to finish, whether you're working on yourself, your family, your friends, or clients. Step 1, Step 2, Step 3, what do you do? Plus a lot of extra things too. Screen by screen, going through the Infinity and what the different things mean, and just extra information about each one, including the brain panel, how to recheck items, and so forth, how to do the biocompatibility test, what does it mean, how to read it, the cross-analysis, how to make a customized panel, what do the no-jure panels mean, backing up to Dropbox, everything that we could ever think of from based on your questions and our own use of the Infinity for many years now. And some things on the legalities too, which are very important for you to know what you can say and what you can't when you're using the app with other people. The appendix also includes the cross-analysis list, those hundreds and hundreds of things. That's in the manual as well. So it's part of the Natural Therapy Certification Board. It's been approved by them as a course that, as all of our things are at Integrity Biofeedback Academy. It's part of the Stress Management Certification Program, and also there's the information of how to order it. You can go right on our website, biofeedbackedu.com, hit the Order Registration tab. It's near the bottom there. You'll just scroll down and you'll see the proficiency training for the Infinity. We also have one for the Life System as well. Some of you have Life Systems, so you can check that out too. You can email us with questions at integritybiofeedback@gmail.com or call us at 239-221-0000. 8977. How's that for a fast commercial? And I guarantee nobody got diarrhea except maybe me trying to get through all the information very quickly.
Oh, that's like too much information. That's what my children say to me. TMI. I just wanted to make a mention here. If you have not signed up for the conference, but you are planning on coming to the conference, could you please shoot us an email and just verify that and let us know that you are planning on coming to the conference? It's important for us to know numbers and things like that. So if you send us your information, shoot us an email and let us know if you are coming. That would be great. Thank you so much for tuning in. Tune in again next week. And again, as Sharon always says, send us your questions. We'll be happy to get ready and answer them then. Have a blessed week, and we send you light and love.